The only real God is the one that you believe in. Start looking for the God in others. And if you find you're tuning into a wave, well then I don't know much about being saved.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, friends.
Welcome into another episode of Spiritual Philosophy Chatter with the Joneses. I'm Danny Jones.
And I am Samantha Jones.
And this is episode 130.
130.
What are we talking about?
This is Mysteries of Space.
Ooh, I like it.
I know, you're a big space person.
Yeah, I always liked science and stuff like that.
So bad
Especially
at it.
when it got into that part of it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I like the concept, but I'm so bad at like the scientific part.
Yeah, me too. Didn't do great in it. I just was interested.
Yeah. Like somebody dumb it down for me, please. Anyways, that's
Cool.
probably what we're going to do today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, before we hop into it, anything from last week?
Yes, so last week we did mysterious Earth locations, and we had talked about the suicide forest, and Nick had commented back on this, and he said, thank you for doing the suicide forest. He had said that if we didn't do it on that episode, that we should do it because it was, such a big thing.
Good suggestion, Nicholas.
Yeah. And he said, I was curious what kind of energy it was giving off. You don't think there's any unhappy spirits trying to push people to the edge there, though? And so I wanted to address this real quick. No, I don't. I think if anything, that the spirit guides and the other spirits are there to make you not do that. That there's probably things that they're doing to complicate it, to make it harder for you, putting obstacles in your way. But you know what? Everybody has a story, and some people choose to leave this life. And so there may be spirits that are just there, and they just are, waiting to meet that soul to help them cross over. But as far as spirits egging them on to harm themselves, no. I think this is where we get into the movies a lot and those kinds of things and what we've been taught. And Nick and I talked a little bit more, and he said that he's felt spirits, or he felt them when he was younger, but he felt like they were bad spirits. And I said, well, the energy, if you don't know what you're feeling, can feel, it's given me anxiety attacks many times when a spirit comes in, and I'm an adult, Right. So for a kid to feel that kind of emotion, that absolutely, I could see why it would make you feel like there's bad spirits. And the way that this works too is your mind can make you think whatever. And so if your mind is going and you're also hearing them, it can sound like it's bad spirits. It can. But that's when you meditate and you realize, oh, that was just my voice mixing with their voice,
right.
But I think that the suicide forest is a very sad place, but it is not haunted. No. It is not, you're not going to go there and be killed or anything like that. It's not like that at all.
I think especially growing up in modern era, like most of us have, we're so affected by sensationalism at such a young age before we even realize it.
Yeah.
So we have like a preconceived judgment about things without really knowing what's really going on.
And we don't even realize, that we have a preconceived notion.
Exactly, because it's been, by this I mean media, television, you get inundated by this at a young age.
Right.
You get you're shown certain opinions about things that you just maybe assume, or I did, that's what it was.
Right.
When in actuality, I don't really think in this situation that's what that is.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We have our own beliefs, and everybody is absolutely entitled to their beliefs. Nick was talking about how he was Catholic growing up, and Catholic religion absolutely believes that there's evil spirits. But I think that I'll tell you, I have tested, I have done some things that would probably frighten people to show that there are no evil spirits. I have welcomed them. Take me over, let's see what happens. I'm still me.
Right.
Nothing's happened.
No.
And you can say, oh, they're not going to, you're inviting them, so they're not going to come. No, it's just that they're not there.
They're scared of you.
Yeah, right. They're scared.
Oh, don't be scared.
Yeah, don't be scared. It's because they're not there, so they can't show up because they're not there. And hell is something that was created to control us, to make us feel like we can't do certain things in our life, or certain things are bad, and that's not the way that this works at all.
There's evil people.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, free will.
Yeah.
You know, that we all have it.
Yep, exactly.
So what we do with it is our choice.
Yep, absolutely. So I just wanted to address that from Nick. And Gabe called me a buzzkill. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be a buzzkill, but it's really my job. Like, the universe I am an employee of the universe to spread the truth, not to spread lies. So if I sat here and I filled your head full of all kinds of things that, there's demons there or whatever, then I would be lying to you. So I would much rather be a buzzkill than a liar.
Exactly. But that's funny.
Yeah. So, and then we do 2 questions every week.
All right.
These questions I actually took from readings that I did this week with clients because I thought that these would be great for our listeners.
Cool.
The first one is Carrie. She asked me about tarot cards. Tarot cards or oracle cards, which one to start with, what's better. That was kind of the gist of the question. Tarot cards are very, very, very accurate. They can also scare the crap out of you if you don't know how to read them correctly.
Yeah, that's true.
So I would recommend starting with oracle cards because they also do make oracle cards that will teach you tarot. They're just like they use different things, like instead of using pentacles and wands and that kind of thing, they use summer, winter, or they use animals or whatever.
Right.
Those, Danny doesn't like those. He wants the blow delivered to him.
I like to get right to it. Like, I want to see it spread out. And I'm going to agree with you 100%. I've never seen something so accurate in my life.
It's scary. It's really scary.
But it's amazing.
Yeah,
you really,
it is. It's scary.
You
amazing.
really realize it when it starts going on. But you have to interpret it correctly.
Yes, that is exactly it.
Or watch it unfold that way and you'll see it.
And if you let your mind get ahead of you, that's where, like, I've done that many times, and I can see it usually clearly in the cards, what it's saying to me. And I'm like, no, not that. Right. And so I'll try and make something else out of it,
Not the tower.
Not the tower. But the tower, it turns out to not always be so bad.
Right.
It just means transformation, major change.
And your perception along with all those things.
But I think that if you're more sensitive, that I would start with the oracle cards. There are so many different ones. I have probably 20 decks myself of just different things. I would just recommend, like, Hay House. They sell a bunch of cards because that's all they do is, like, they're a publishing company for, like, spiritual things, like cards and books and stuff. So you can go, it's Hay House, Hay House. .com, and they have a lot of cards, or even you go down to the store if you have one, to a crystal shop or metaphysical shop, and they have a lot of cards, and just pick what you're drawn to. Whatever the first deck is that jumps out at you, that's the one that you take. And I would recommend getting a tarot deck, but learning how to do it. Take a tarot course online, watch some videos, but start slowly, because it can be really overwhelming, especially once you realize just how accurate they are. Yeah. So I hope that answers that question.
Cool.
And then
Thanks, Carrie.
That was Carrie, yeah.
Thanks, Carrie.
And then Trisha asked me, what does spirit mean? And this is something that I was confused about at first when we started the spiritual journey. Nisha used this a lot. Spirit is an interchangeable way of saying God, universe, source. For me, it was confusing. I didn't want to use it because I use the word spirits a lot. And that's where this client of mine was getting confused, is that she was hearing this all the time being used as a singular instead of a plural. And she's like, what? I'm so confused. What are people talking about? And so it's just really depends on what you choose. Like, there are people that I will use that word with, like Nisha, because she does use it a lot. And other people that I feel that that's the best word to describe God to them.
The creator, the one all be all
those things. That's what spirit is. It's just another way of putting it.
Spirits is plural, obviously, but when you're talking about, you're speaking to multiple spirits, we are extensions of the spirit.
Yeah,
We're just plural.
exactly. Yeah. So, it's just another way of saying God in the universe. So,
Good question.
yeah, I actually do get that quite a bit, so I thought we should address that.
Thanks, Tricia.
Yeah, thank you, Tricia. And then the last thing we're going to talk about before we get into the episode is I'm going to do a reading like I do every week.
All right.
Oh, yay. So this is for Norma. And Norma asked, she said, "This is Penny. She's been with us for about 10 years. There have been 3 additions to my family the past couple years. I can tell she feels strongly about the babies. There's jealousy at times, but also a motherly affection for them. I want to know if she is okay and if I've neglected any of her needs." So this is Penny the dog. I'll show you. Yeah. So let's talk to Penny.
What kind of dog is that, do you know?
I see some Cocker Spaniel, but there's also, I don't know. That's a good question, Norma, if you know what kind. But I see another dog in there, another breed, but I can't, it's on the tip of my tongue. Maybe I'll think about it when I'm doing the reading. Okay, so let's talk to Penny here. So the first thing that she showed me is that she looks at herself as a caregiver. So yes, she does really enjoy these babies.
That's cool.
She feels like that is a part of her job. And a lot of dogs, believe it or not, they like to have jobs, and it's important for them. And I feel like for her, this is what she does. She watches over them. Like she's sitting on this couch right now, and I kind of see her in the picture, and I see her overseeing things, watching, making sure everything's going the way it's supposed to. And so that's kind of her main role in your house. And of course, there's always jealousy. There's always going to be jealousy, no matter what the dog's job or role is. But I don't think it's as bad as you think it is. I think because of her age and because of how things have changed, and they didn't change all at once. It's like it's been 3 years, but it wasn't like boom, everything all at once. So she did have a chance to kind of adjust, and she understands. So the jealousy, I feel like she has those moments of jealousy, but she can snap herself out of it because she's like, no, wait a minute. This is just, they need to do this. They need to take care of this one, and I need to just sit back. So she has learned a lot. She's very smart. I love older dogs because they have been around and they understand things so much, and they're a lot easier to talk to than puppies. Puppies are like all over the place. So the older dogs,
try to talk to an infant or a toddler.
Exactly. This is like talking to a young adult. So it's a good conversation.
Cool.
So let me go back to what you had asked. Neglected any of her needs? No, I absolutely don't feel like she is neglected at all. One thing I am picking up from her is some itching. I don't know if you've noticed this. It seems to be more the hind end. I see her trying to bite at her back end, but I'm not exactly sure what this is. Definitely an allergy of some kind. I don't think it's like fleas, but I'm not sure what the allergy is. Considering this feels like it's more of her hind end, I would think it might be something that she's sitting on. So I would keep an eye out for what you put in your grass, possibly. This is where it's helpful for me to have the other person there that, I'm doing the reading, and I can explain to them what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling, and they can explain to me exactly what it is, So let's talk about this afterwards so that we can make sure that this makes sense to you and it fits and we can figure it out. Because I feel like that's really the main thing that's bothering her. She's also...
Could be something in the fabric softener or something on a
it could
bed
be.
Or something she lays on.
What's different about this than what I feel from other dogs is it's not so much other areas except her backside. So it could be if she had a bath that there's like residual soap left there too. I don't know. So this is where we need to talk about it. The other thing that she's pointing out to me is that there's a tooth that bothers her. She's showing me in the picture, it would be my back. Okay, so the back left on the bottom. She's circling it for me. It's not the tooth in the back. It's the one before that. So have a look at that But also, if you don't see anything there, do look at the right one, because like what I'm seeing is in this picture is like a circle around the bottom tooth on the right side, but that would be my left side. So I don't think I'm interpreting this wrong, but if I am, look at the other side.
Right.
So just look at those back teeth and make sure that you don't see anything going on back there. Or maybe she's pointing out that there was already something there, but I do feel some discomfort back there. So that totally goes off of what your question was, but I was told to point those things out, so I definitely wanted to make sure to do that. But she's a happy dog, and she does well with change, and she knows that you love her, and she's not going anywhere, and so she's secure in her home. She feels like a member of the family, and like I said, it's her job to oversee. So,
Cool.
Yeah. So there's Penny.
Good. Thanks, Penny.
Yes, thanks,
job,
Penny. And Norma, appreciate you submitting that. And
Thank you, Norma.
So, if you would like for me to do a reading for you on the show, you just join our discussion group on Facebook, and I put up a post, and then people can put who they would like me to read on that post, and I get to one a week. And so our discussion group, you can find it on Facebook. It's just the Spiritual Philosophy Chatter with the Joneses discussion group. And so if you put Spiritual Joneses, it'll probably come up.
Pops up.
Yeah, for sure.
Good job.
So that's all I have from last week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, then. Well, episode 130, Mysteries of Space.
Mysteries of Space. This was an interesting one for me to put together because, like I have said, this is not my strong suit at all. So there were so many things that I read that I would look at them and be like, what is this even saying? And I read something to you, and I was like, see, did you see my mind leaving? Did you see? This is why I didn't do good in school, because I just don't understand. So,
what's the great unknown? So nobody's an expert at any of this.
No.
We're trying to figure it out together.
I don't know. I'm like neutrons, electrons, atoms. I don't know any of this stuff. String theory, quantum physics. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do my best to explain some of these things in layman's terms. So that we can all understand. Even the really smart ones will hopefully, because we're all on a different level. So anyways, today we're going to chat about space mysteries. Space actually refers to the void that exists between celestial bodies. We also are going to be chatting a little bit about what's considered the universe, which is a place not of that you don't find any of these celestial bodies. That has the celestial bodies. So
we got you.
Yeah. The universe refers to all celestial objects as well as space. It's everything.
Yes.
It's encompassed in everything. When I started putting this episode together, I thought it was going to take a different turn. And then I started realizing there is a lot of strange things going on that I don't know that anybody really knows is going on out there. So today we're going to talk about dark energy, the expansion of the universe, how big is the universe, and multiverses.
Wow.
Yes. So we did do an episode as well. I don't remember what the number was, but we did an episode a while back on black holes and dark matter and time travel. So we're not going to get into the dark matter. I would just go back to that episode. I wanted to do other things. So let's talk about dark energy first.
Yeah.
Dark energy is the name given to the force that's causing the rate of expansion in our universe to accelerate over time rather than slow down. That's contrary to what one might expect from a universe that started from a Big Bang. It behaves the opposite of gravity.
Right. So that's a good explanation because it's not dark because it's something evil.
No.
Or,
yeah.
It's just it behaves differently than our laws of nature say that it should.
Right, exactly. And so I watched a demonstration on this about, how a Big Bang should work. And if you think about it, any kind of explosion is the worst at the center. And as it explodes and goes outward, it starts to slow down. So that's the way that a Big Bang should work. But what's happening now in our universe is it's not slowing down, it's speeding up.
Well, in theory about the Big Bang itself, you're basing that bang in an atmosphere.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So we tend to think of it where there's air and oxygen, but space is a vacuum.
True.
So you can see just kind of stories from the past, like one of the Apollo missions, with the one they made the movie about. Which one was that? Can't remember.
Oh, I don't remember.
Apollo 11?
Maybe.
But with Tom Hanks or whatever.
Don't remember.
So they lose, like, they're running low on fuel, and they've got to use the moon's gravitational force to kind of project them back towards the Earth.
Yeah.
So you can see that alone in a vacuum, things are going to act differently, period, because it doesn't require as much force behind it. It's like once you're moving, you're going to be moving.
Right, exactly.
Until something stops you almost. It's that's the way I perceive it. But then you add that Big Bang Theory into a vacuum.
Yeah.
How do we know how that is going to react? Whether it would...
True.
There's no atmosphere to slow anything down.
Yeah, you make a valid point. That's why these are mysteries, because we really don't know.
Right.
We just know it's speeding up and not slowing down. So, but yeah, that's a good point. Dark energy makes up 69% of the total mass energy density of the universe. Dark matter makes up 26%. Only 5% is normal visible matter. So basically, we don't know what's out. It's just empty.
Right.
It seems like it's empty, but it's filled with
It
these...
still doesn't explain the speeding up part.
No, it
What's
doesn't.
making it accelerate?
No.
I could see where things would just move and not stop moving until something was in its way.
Right.
But what's making it speed up?
Right.
That's the mind-boggling part.
Yeah. Dark energy is invisible. It fills all of space, and it is repulsive gravity is speeding up the expansion of the universe. Its repulsive gravity is speeding up the expansion of the universe. So this dark matter is what's making the universe speed up and grow.
Wow.
But exactly what it is still continues to elude scientists. Like, it's all hypothesis, and, right now they don't know.
No.
That's what makes it a mystery.
It does.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about how the universe is expanding. And so the Big Bang predicts matter to be distributed evenly across the universe. The expanding of the universe means space is expanding, not necessarily the universe. So we think the universe is expanding, right? But we really are using the wrong word here, because it's the space that is expanding, not the actual universe so much. So I also watched a little diagram of this, and this is how they explained it, is if you take a balloon, and the balloon represents the universe, and then you put some dots on that balloon, okay? Then you start to blow it up. The dots start to expand more and more as you're blowing it up. And so that's what's happening, is it's not changing so much where they are, it's just expanding them. They're still in the same area of each other. There's still the same amount of space between them. It's just expanding it.
Right.
So that's what they're explaining is happening to our universe, is it's not... it's that it's all expanding. It's not moving in different directions. And what's interesting about this is that we think of like our solar system and our galaxy, okay? And if the universe is expanding, is that ripping apart our solar system and our galaxy? Well, it's not, because that has its own gravity and electromagnetism, or however you say it, that keeps these things together. So those things stay together, but they're just being pulled farther apart. They kind of explained it like if you have a dog on a leash, right? And then like the ground starts moving and it's like separating you. And if you let go of the leash, then you're going to separate from each other. But if you hold on to the leash, if it's not moving at faster than a certain rate, you'll stay holding that leash and you won't separate each other. And that's how they explain why the galaxies and stuff stay together instead of expanding themselves. So, kaboom goes the brain.
The part about that boggles my mind is about things that are, but I guess there is explanations for all this, is like things that will collide with each other.
Yeah.
In space. So does that mean if everything's moving out in one direction, not one direction, but from the center point, all moving out forward,
right,
then things are going faster, or other things are causing the pull or direction of one object to then change and cause it to collide with something else.
Right.
But I think you're right. I think it's the space itself is growing, but that allows for new formations of stars and new galaxies. You know, these are born out of the gases and things, you know, that are in there.
Right. Exactly.
Out there.
Out there. Yeah.
So, but the concept of it ever ending, you know, we're so, again, that we go back to that, you know, what's first, the chicken or the egg? Mm-hmm. And we're so hell-bent on needing an answer to that.
Yeah.
When maybe that's the whole thing, is that there just isn't an answer to that.
Right.
And, I mean, could you imagine all of a sudden we all hit the wall? Everything collides into one wall. That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
And then multi-universes, you know, which you'll get into too. How do you explain that within the mass?
Right.
Or the space allowed?
Right.
Because we always have to think that something has to fit into something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can't explain what is it fitting into?
Right, exactly.
Maybe it's not.
We want a logical human explanation for things. And something that I have learned on the spiritual journey is there are just things that you're not going to get that to because your human brain cannot wrap around what's actually going on. And I think that space is one of those things that we really, it is a mystery. It will always be a mystery until we die, because these are things that our human brain can't fathom. Like we were talking earlier about how I can get swept up, and you too, in the Big Bang. What was before it? What happened? What was there before the Big Bang? There goes my brain again, because it's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Just nothing.
Was it the space that space is existing in before? What was it? A white room? What was it?
Yeah.
Dolores talks about this in Convoluted Universe, about how that even some mysteries, when you go to heaven, that aren't unveiled.
Yeah.
They remain mystery, because I think even if you're not the creator yourself, you're not going to really understand. And I don't know what those are.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
I think a lot of information is available to us, but I think a lot of it still is too vast.
It is.
For us to understand.
And I think we need to stop expecting that we know and think that we hit the nail on the head, because we don't know. We can, guess. And even for me, like, I sit here when I do this research, and when we talk about it, and I connect to my spirit guides and ask, just give me a little bit of an idea of what's actually going on here. And for me, what I see is an infinite universe. I just see that there is no end to it. Yeah. And that's hard to grasp. That
really is.
Yeah. Because you were saying earlier
about... I picture myself flying like in a scene in Star Wars, like Millennium Falcon. And when they're just kind of, before they hit warp speed, they're just kind of cruising. And you see stars sort of passing by at what seems like a relatively slower speed. However, the distance, even in those scenes, the distance of the stars from each other is a little bit too close. It would be even vaster than that.
Yeah.
They make it almost look lit up.
Yeah, of course.
Because there's so much light from the stars, but it's a little bit darker than that. So I picture just taking that flight forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
To no end.
No end.
What? No matter which direction I went.
Yeah.
Up, down, left, right. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
It just went on forever. That is a very hard thing. You feel like you find yourself in a moment of awe.
Yeah.
Kind of like William Shatner's response as he's floating above the earth.
That was cool that he got to do that.
Yeah. I mean, you could see it, man. Like, you could feel it was real. He was like, oh, my God.
I can't imagine I'd be able to say much more than that looking at that either.
Unreal.
That's pretty wild. But I also, it's funny because I look also at something else like that too, about like going off into, it just goes and goes and goes. But that's also what it's like for life, because we're here forever, for eternity. Our soul is here. And that can be a really overwhelming thing to think about, because you're like, how many times am I going to do this? But I guess that's what,
And it gives me some sort
Eternity.
of, I don't know why, but I feel like it gives me some sort of explanation as to why, there's so many souls and why there needs to be such a vast area for learning to happen.
Right. Exactly.
And I mean, I would go as far as to, I couldn't say it, but there's as many souls as there are stars, which would be infinite.
Yeah. Exactly.
And every one of these souls needs a place to learn. And that means other dimensions, other universes, other worlds, other times. I mean, it's really quite, it's like pretzel logic. It's like, whoa.
It really is. Yeah, all of it is. And so that's why it's like our human brains just can't, I sit here and I'm like, well, that means that it just goes on and on and on forever and ever and ever. And that can be very overwhelming, and it's like, but that's really what you want. But right now it seems like that's tiring. That's tiring just thinking about doing this so many more times for eternity.
If you had eternity, you could take a nap for 1,000,000 years and then get up and be like, I'm bored. What's next?
I don't sit still very well, so I would probably not even need a nap.
Because we're energy.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's our true essence, is we're just energy.
Yep.
We act like we own these bodies and they're ours, but they're not. They'll go right back to the earth where they started.
Yeah.
And we're left as our energy, and to be out there experiencing all this, even when we're not walking around in a world.
Yeah.
But, I would go as far as say there's even life in our solar system. It wouldn't be the life that, that we consider like humans
like
and
us,
we're walking upright and stuff. But in our solar system,
well, absolutely,
there's life.
Yeah, I would believe that. Yeah. I don't see why not. I think, again, that we want to look at it as what we consider life, what we consider well, if there's not a being that walks upright or, is on four legs or swims or whatever, then there can't possibly be life, or, they have to have water to survive. They have to have this to survive. They have to have an atmosphere. Why? Why can't there be creatures or whatever that have adapted to Mars? Why can't there be things living inside of Mars? There's so many possibilities.
Or multi-dimensional planes, which means you could visit worlds where it appears that there's nothing there.
Yeah.
But there actually is civilization and life happening, but you're just on a different
That's true.
dimension, so you don't see it.
Yes, that's true.
This is another mind-boggling mystery that is out there. I don't know, it's more global based, but or planetary based, but it's still a mystery of Gabe brought up a theory that he's read about, which I thought was interesting. I don't know if you were ready to.
What's that?
The donut one about.
Oh no, go ahead.
The theory of we're kind of circulating, from above down into like a donut hole, back around. And then circulating back down to the top, back down out to the bottom.
Yeah.
So that would sort of simulate the motion, the constant motion of the universe expanding.
Right.
Or moving.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that that's an impossible, but I still feel like I lean more towards it's supposed to be infinite.
It's just, yeah,
it's
me
supposed
too.
to be infinite. It's eternity. It's infinite. It's infinite.
Right. And we just
For
can't
a
grasp
reason.
that because we're human and we can't possibly understand. When we talk about different dimensions, on a spiritual level, there are different dimensions. Like, we live in 3D, okay? But when you start living in 4D and 5D, you experience a completely different reality. You see things differently. Colors are different. Everything's different. So it is very possible that a being that is evolved enough, that is vibrating at a high enough rate, could live on a planet without us even knowing it's there. It's very possible that we just can't see it because it's in a different dimension. As crazy and wild as that may sound.
Yes.
the possibilities are endless. Right. That's where with spiritualism you have to have faith and just like all of those things that we were taught in school, you know, that this is how it is and you have to have water to sustain life. And we need to forget all of that. Right. Because that is just human. Right. That's human. That's not anything else. So once we can let go of all of that stuff, then you open up your mind for more to come in, for more possibilities to understand what is really going on. Yeah. So I know that there's probably a lot of people that are listening right now and their minds may have exploded like mine has when I was doing the research. Right. But it's important to keep an open mind because anything is possible. Anything. If I can talk to spirits and animals, anything's possible. It's, you know, that's what really caught me when I realized that I have a relationship with the other side. I can see into this other dimension. That is when I really realized that nothing is what it seems. Right. Nothing at all.
Even when it comes down to like talking about the earth and how we've heard, you know, like in biblical times, like about Armageddon and the earth being destroyed and rebuilt. Yeah. You know, and then all of a sudden it's paradise. Right. I think this is an analogy. I think it's similar. What we're talking about is similar to this. It's just through translation and kind of analogy of old writings is that the earth moves into another dimension. Mm-hmm. So you essentially have the old earth and the new earth. And they say this is throughout battles and demons. Well, the battles are already here. Right. We've been having wars forever. Yeah. It's, you know, this all the people are taken up into heaven and it's destroyed and then everybody's put back down. That's the part that's the translation for me that gets a little wrong is you're not, unless you've already died and gone to heaven, you're not essentially brought to heaven. Right. And then brought back down to earth. You're stepping through a doorway. Right. And this is part of the awakening. And you start to perceive and see things different. Yeah. This world will move into that dimension where essentially can be unseen. Exactly. From the old world. There will still be people in the old world that stay here to try to help others. It's not evangelizing. It's helping people see the doorway. Right. And moving into this new world, this new way of just about everything, thinking, perception. Yes. And that is kind of essentially my belief about how that will happen. And that's already begun. Yeah. And there's a lot of confusion, I think, with people with this concept of moving into this 5D, is that it doesn't mean that we're going to be taken away from the earth. It means it's a shift in consciousness. It's a shift in perception. So you still here on earth, you just have a different sense of what's going on. You're more open to what's going on. Right. So you see more. It's when you really start to see what's going on, you look at everything different. You look at crime different. You look at all of the bad that happens in this world. You look at it different. And that's where moving into the 5D is a shift. It's an awakening, but it's not an actual physical removal from the earth like what maybe the Bible says, you know. We're going to take everybody and then put them back down. No. It's not like that at all. And most people won't even realize that it happened. No, it actually includes access shift, which has happened more than once for our globe. Oh, yeah. Our axis is tilted before. Right. But that is going to be part of it too. And that's happening, but it's so slow.
It's so slow, yeah.
You don't see it, but this has reasons for why the earth is changing too. You know, you're kind of waking up old mama. Right. You know?
I think it's important to say that this is not something that we should fear either. No. Because like with the Bible, when they talk about, you know, this change, you know, this rapture, or whatever they want to call it, which is absolutely what it's not. That is something that I spent a lot of my life worried about. Yeah. Like, is the world going to come to an end? Is Jesus, this all loving person, going to come down from the heavens and yell at me and set things on fire. And that was the perception that I was given of what was actually going to happen for a long time. And that's not it at all.
No.
It's very much a perception and consciousness shift. It's not scary at all.
Right.
So if you're one of those people that has worried about the world coming to an end because of religious reasons, let it go, because that's not what's happening here at all.
And no matter how you die, you're all going to end up in the same place.
Yeah, exactly. That's a whole other subject.
Yeah.
Not fearing death.
And that's not the fifth dimension or the fourth.
No.
That's literally spirit world, spirit realm.
Yes,
but there are other dimensions within life that we're kind of talking about that exist in space, yet we're not quite sure about a lot of these things, even like black holes. We don't even know where do these go. There's theories that these dump out into another universe. What dimension is that?
Right. Totally.
How does that universe now fit into the mass of our expanding universe?
Right.
So then you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, wormhole.
Yeah, it absolutely is a wormhole. It is. Let's get to these other couple things that I have. So the next one was, how big is the universe? And we've kind of talked about that a little bit already, but scientists have no idea how large the universe is. They would need to know the shape of the universe, a rate of expansion, and a lot of other things to even possibly get a grasp of that. And all of those things are mysteries as well. We can only see so far out into space, and what's beyond that is a complete mystery. The leading theory is that the universe is flat, which leads scientists to believe that the size of the universe is infinite. And one of the things that happens to me when we do these episodes is a lot of times I feel like my guides step in and they talk through me. I feel like things come out of my mouth that I don't know anything about, so it can't possibly be coming from me. And again, I have said that I have also connected to this situation, and what I feel is that this is absolutely it, that the universe is infinite. I don't know that it's flat, per se, because it's everywhere.
Right.
So how is something that's everywhere, that's 360 all around you, how is that flat?
Right.
But when I see it, it just goes and goes and goes. And this is also a perception thing because, then we can go into simulation and everything, that none of this is actually real.
Right.
This is all a simulation.
I think that's why this is so pertinent to our advancement as a civilization, is to connect with other life in a friendly, peaceful manner, because I guarantee you other life out there have much greater understanding and knowledge, and even visitation of certain areas of the universe that we couldn't even dream of touching right now. We couldn't even dream.
No, we could learn a lot.
We could learn so much, but we have to change. It's requiring this shift that we just spoke about. That has to happen first.
Yeah.
This moving into the new earth and this new approach and way of thinking, that's when it'll happen.
Right, exactly. Yep, exactly. So you have mentioned the multiverse theory, okay? So our universe could be in a multiverse, meaning we could be just one of infinite numbers of universe. This would mean that there are multiple versions of you. This is where my brain really explodes, because I have no idea how that's possible, where that theory comes from. But if space and time goes on forever, then it must start repeating itself at some point. The thing about this is that this would make our universe an accident. Multiverse would make our universe an accident, according to scientists, okay?
Why?
Because it's random. It's repeating itself.
Well, I get that from a scientist's point of view.
Yeah.
But I go back to infinite space, infinite souls, a lot of people sitting around bored if you don't have somewhere to go and something to do.
Right.
A lot of energy sitting around bored that needs to do, you know, and our sole purpose as energies or spirits is to get as close to the Creator and learn these mysteries. But this takes visiting here many times and there, wherever there is, to learn all these things.
Right.
So if you have these multiverses, like, and Dolores talks about this also, which I kind of tripped me out and does get mind bending. That, take for example, any decision you make in your life is a choice, but there was an alternate choice. And whatever that alternate choice is, that goes on and becomes a separate universe.
Yeah.
And this is happening over and over and over and over for every single one of our souls.
Yeah.
And every choice that we're making. That leaves a lot of open room then for other souls to have experiences.
Right.
In a body.
Yeah.
Learning
That makes sense,
something.
yeah. So it's not our soul. So let me make sure that I'm getting this right, because this is where my head kind of explodes sometimes. So let's say that there is another you in another universe, or there's multiple yous in multiple universes. Right. Is it actually you, or
no,
it's just
not
physical? Right. It's not your soul. It's
right.
actually a different soul, but it's the same. Okay. That makes way more sense to me, because all this time I've been thinking it's a piece of my soul that's in this body in another universe, and that makes no sense to me.
It's an imprint that allows for what we would call a walk-in.
Yeah.
Somebody to step in to experience something that they needed to learn in life.
Yeah.
And since you chose this choice, it leaves that choice wide open.
That's very interesting.
So... Not accidental, rather very methodically put together, but then allows for infinite numbers of beings to be doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, anything's possible. It's very possible, you know. I just think we overthink it.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
But then some people might go, well, you're thinking a lot about this.
Well, yeah.
But, you know, I can't just accept that one book that was written on one planet in an infinite universe is the truth about all.
No.
No. Because we don't know anything, hardly at all.
No, we don't. We don't know the majority.
And
really.
Even in the time frame of forever, when you look at the Big Bang, is that relatively new? Or is this really old?
Right.
How do you judge that when time
infinite.
is infinite?
Yeah. Wormhole. That's where the brain explodes.
Yeah.
You know, I know that, like, I've talked to some of our listeners, and I know that a lot of this is over their head. And I'll tell you that at the beginning of my spiritual journey, it was too a lot of this. And now I'm starting to grasp it better and understand, and opening myself up to the fact that anything is possible. You know, for me, I'm stuck in the simulation. Mm-hmm. So for me, the universe, I feel like it's infinite, and there could be other us. Is sure there. Actually, I was telling you this earlier, and this is a lot for me, because this is not something that I believed in probably 5-10 years ago. Mm-hmm. But my grandmother told me a couple of weeks ago that she had an imprint, that when my grandma first got sick in 2010, that an imprint stepped in and lived the rest of her life for her. I can see this now. Looking back, I can see and understand what this means. That she left. She was tired, but I needed her here because taking care of her became my job. It got me kind of out of my marriage and into this, you know, to California, reconnecting with you. All of those things, none of it would have happened if I wouldn't have come back here to take care of my grandma. But she was done. She wanted to go. So she left, and an imprint stepped in and stayed in her body until she died. And that trips me out. And I don't exactly know all of the details of what that means yet. Right. But
I do agree with you that it is a simulation. It's an organic simulation.
Yeah.
That's always going to go on.
Yeah.
It's maybe not on this ball or this rock.
Yeah.
But there'll be others.
Yeah.
It has to be. You know, it just has to be.
Yep.
And we won't know a lot of this until we go, and we'll learn a lot when we go to the spirit realm. We'll be enlightened to certain degrees, I'm sure, and then there's probably a lot of things maybe we're not privy to that information until, you know, the creator themselves deems that you're ready for that information, but
Yep.
it's pretty vast.
This is something that I probably, like I said, I would not have been open to. Maybe not even a couple of years ago. So if this is too over your head and you're thinking, no, this isn't possible, I can tell you that I've been there too. And that once you get a better understanding of the universe and all of that, you can better grasp these things. And I told you at the beginning of the spiritual journey that there were just some things that they were going to tell us, but just not now because we couldn't understand them. And I see it has to naturally progress. If you're thrown these things that are just way over your head, it's like I can't
all about
absorb
experience.
It is, yeah, and learning, and there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn in this mysterious universe and mysterious space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there you got it.
Well, there was one last thing we were going to talk about, which was kind of it's not mysterious, but it's sort of what is it? How to coin the phrase? Probably just a misinterpretation. When we speak of the dark side of the moon.
Oh, yeah, sure. Which is the 8th studio album by Pink Floyd.
Yes, that's a great album.
That's not what we're talking about.
But no, so no commentary, Gabe.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be some.
But anyways, we only see one side of the moon because the moon itself does not rotate.
Right.
The Earth rotates.
Right.
But no matter what, the moon doesn't, so we always see the face. So we consider the back side of the moon as the dark side of the moon.
Right.
And we think in our heads that it's always dark.
Right.
Well, no, that depends on where the sun is.
Right. But yeah, this isn't really a mystery so much.
Right.
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting because what's living on the dark side of the moon? Is there things over there nobody can see?
Light.
We can't see. Well, you can see.
Yeah.
We just see it when the sun is behind the Earth and lighting up the moon, which would give it a full moon. Therefore, then the backside of the moon would be dark.
Right. So let me read this to you so that you can maybe understand a little better if that was confusing. The hemisphere of the moon that is facing away from the Earth in reality is no darker than any other part of the moon's surface, as sunlight does in fact fall equally on all sides of the moon. We don't see the far side because the moon is tidally locked to the Earth. The moon does rotate, but it rotates at the same speed that it rotates around the Earth. That means the same side is always turned towards us. Right. So even though we may think there's a dark side, that side does get the sun. Yeah. So it's just one of those things that, I don't know.
It's like a coined phrase.
Yeah.
But
I was even let down by this because I didn't know this. But it really makes a lot of sense if you think about it. It's like, okay, well, the moon doesn't just stay in one spot. It goes with us. So, of course, it sees the sun. Yeah. But, so it was kind of a letdown when I went to read this. But knowledge is power, right?
Yeah. I think we should do an episode about the moon and discuss, our trips and what's been reported, what hasn't, maybe that other people feel. But now you see with technology that people can put a telescope up and get a good view and have got some pretty amazing things, flying by it or around it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we should, let's do an episode on the moon because we haven't been back. Is there a reason?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Yeah, actually. So we'll have to do that.
Cool. So let's do it.
Great.
Awesome. Well, that was a good one.
Yeah, I liked it.
It's
very confusing, but I think that it's okay. I learned a lot.
The topic is infinite as much as itself.
Yeah.
So I feel like I could just think of all these possibilities, but the truth is not really going to know right now.
No, and it just bends the brain sometimes too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, before we say goodbye to our friends, would you like to share your page?
Yes. So you can find me at SamanthaJonesPsychicMedium.com. And I have an exciting new feature on my website that you can schedule an appointment and pay for your reading right there if you'd like. So, that you can do that right on my website now. Special tab for it and everything. And then if you'd like to reach us at the show, spiritualjoneses@gmail.com. And you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at spiritualjoneses.
Very good.
And you, sir?
Yes, for my art, djonesartcollection.com for the web, at djonesartcollection for Facebook and Instagram, and for the music, gypsybrown.com for the web, and I'll just leave it at that.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Yay.
Okay. Well, we hope everybody got something out of this week.
That we do.
Maybe we bent your mind a little bit. That's all right.
Mine is
Go take a hot shower or something.
or meditate.
Yeah.
How's that?
But we hope everybody has a great week.
That we do.
Until next week.